not within the Controlled Substances Act, but as it's been displaced into the Food and Drug Administration legislation. All right, so with that being said, we have I think we got like a 60, 70, maybe 400,000 people confirmed, don't we?
At least
okay.
400,000.
There's going to be some live music too, I understand, right? You're on bongos and
That's
Fraser
what we
will
were
be on-
trying. Yes.
Okay.
We were working on a set list earlier.
Deborah will be appearing in doing her prose. Is that right? Prose, PR.
Pros.
And
I'm glad you warned me. Now I'm going to have to practice. That wasn't just sprung on me at the last minute.
I tell you what's kind of interesting, and I don't want this to go unnoticed, but Tony Portelli's here.
Hey, Tony.
And as it goes in the life of some of the more interesting people, Tony, what has been going on since you were last here last week? What's been going on in the week since we last heard from you? And by the way, welcome and thanks for being here tonight.
Indeed.
Oh, thank you, Michael. No, we had a great week. Actually, we just got done holding a conference, Regenerative Organics. They had some amazing people come in talking about how to just grow with the ground and different breeding techniques. So we hosted an event, and I think a lot of good things came out of that. Definitely people were able to enjoy a lot of good education.
And for those that don't know, Tony, of course, is the owner of Grow Green, one of the leading home gardening supply stores. And amongst the things that Tony does in the community is host different events. He's got some special private club on Thursdays. It's really hard to get in. Just kidding. But it hosts top technology leaders in the industry that show up and discuss grow techniques and in all aspects of it for all different levels. And I'm probably not even doing it justice. But what I understand happened this last go around that he's being kind of shy about is that his place was selected amongst others, the entire state, to present this new technology growing plants in dirt. Is it something like that?
Have some organic action going on.
No, it's a special selection of your store.
Yeah, I mean, for what was going on for last weekend, for sure. There's a lot of new things going on in the growing side of life. There's things people really pushing the envelope on, changing into LED lights and a lot of different new technologies. But it's funny because we all have the same common thing that we're growing for that quality of that plant and raise the bar. So there's the education portion, and there's definitely the supplies that you can get everything you need to get going. So
let me ask you a couple of questions. What would you say is the number one? Well, let's see. So since 2008-9, just in the the 10-year gap, what would you say has been the biggest, if you could say, the biggest change in either your realization of, what is the certain, a realization of something that you've come to a truth of the right way to do it in anything it may be, whether it's, the method of growing, whether it's dirt or water or, outside, or some kind of special light or some kind of fertilizer. Is that a good question that makes any sense?
I think it's interesting because, I just got all my stuff back a couple weeks ago. So as I got all the equipment back that was stolen from me and rightfully given back, I've had the pleasure of actually handing quite a bit of it out to people that haven't even started growing, Michael. And it's funny. A lot of people are coming in with the thought of getting something. And when you ask what has changed in the technology, at the end of the day, they need a light. And they need to water it, and they need to feed their plants, and how they do that from the inside or the outside. The ballast worked just as good 6 years ago that I gave them as some of the technology that's out now. You can always make things. I think a lot of people are definitely more involved in looking at their DTE bill and their energy consumption and their carbon footprint on the earth. So I think that's why you're seeing this big push for like LED and more energy efficient things, so that they're I even had one guy who was speccing out his system and then putting solar panels on it. So it's really starting to get that type of really good place for everybody growing and moving forward.
Can that actually be done, do you think, where the consumption of energy for the plants or that's normally needed can be done with more energy conserving plants? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, I mean, there's some people that are just going to always grow inside, and then for the people that are fortunate to grow outside, I think that's where people are more interested in that footprint and using that solar. Because really, by the time you do set up a greenhouse and you get an effective grow going, just growing with the sun and being natural. A lot of people are actually making live beds of soil now, so that earth just always stays there, and they put a fresh compost and a spray application on it just so that the earth just keeps breaking down. So a lot of different ways people are growing these days.
What about, is there a way for people to grow with less energy being used with LED lights inside? Is that a thing?
For sure. Yeah, I spec'd out one guy, what he had in 1,000-watt lights of the old-fashioned ones to switching everything to the new LEDs. He was like, that's going to cost me $60,000. I said, well, number one, you're going to yield more. So whatever you were yielding with that other light, that's going to increase. Your quality is going to go up. So basically, whatever you do with your medicine after that, you have a higher quality and more medicine. So when you start looking at that, and then you add in, 37% savings right on the top of running that LED light that flowers. A lot of people say that LED lights can't flower, and these people, when they get that energy savings, and then they realize growing with LEDs, you have to have your humidity at like 60 degrees, and then your heat's up and higher CO2. You're pushing that plant to the max. Like, it can't do much more than what they're pushing on them with those LEDs. So
with the LED, you're saying?
Yeah, so you get the savings with the LED, the power consumption.
But it pushes the plant.
Yeah.
Is that good or bad when you say push the plant?
That's good because you want it to generate higher qualities and higher weights.
Let me ask you this.
I think the overall sell is that guy was actually, in his first year, pay for all of his lights, and then every year after that, he was going to save like $6,000 not running his air conditioners and his power. So, he's going to have that savings forever.
Right.
And that's very good.
And explain to the nimble at heart here, the LED lights are not the norm of what has been commonly used to grow the cannabis sativa plant indoors. It's usually a, what do you call it,
high intensity discharge light, like a HID light.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that was definitely, and they've improved that a little bit, and they went to a double-ended technology. But, I think people were vegging with LED lights for a long time when LEDs came, but now what LEDs are just clearly the cost savings, and especially a lot of these new facilities, these commercial facilities they're setting up in Michigan, they're going straight to LEDs because they don't mind that big initial investment to get the operation up, but they want their running cost, their monthly and day-to-day cost to be as low as possible. So, versus running old technology with those HID lights.
Is it not? So it's not an issue of the power coming out as much as it is just how long they're on for? As long as
I think there's somebody says there's a watt's a watt, whether you do it at 240 or 120 volts. If you have a 100-watt light bulb in your house, and you take that out and you put a 60-watt light bulb, you'll see a difference in how bright that is. So how much power that generates. Some people get more results growing with 600 watts and more of them than 1,000 watts. So at the end of the day, that power consumption is important. And running those LEDs, you're just saving right off the get 37%, which is pretty phenomenal.
If you have one light per plant, what does that usually mean? And then we're talking the power light. That usually produces a certain amount. How many LED lights is the equivalent of that if you were going to do? Forget, you know what I'm saying?
It's pretty simple. A lot of people grow in a 4x4 area. They might have a room that's 12 by 12, so they got a lot of 4x4 areas. And most people will grow one or two plants in that 4x4 area. If you were going to, use, that spider 2i by Fluence or something like that, what that's going to do for that 4x4 area is you're going to get higher results, higher qualities, more weight, and you're saving power. It's kind of like what part didn't make sense. You know what I mean? So the change is just very simple to change, but it's
But
not
no,
something
something-
we're all just sitting on money either. So
No.
I mean, even if somebody
Well-
changes once every other grow, I mean,
Well, if and I don't know, just give me a general idea. Like if what I would know is being, one light per plant or one light per two plants, one light per every two plants, and that's an understood, amount of light that's needed for one plant or two plants. What would be the equivalent in LED lights? Is it like 10 of them, or is it one? Do I make a one big one like they do with the other ones? That's just
yeah.
LED.
So just going back to that light I just spoke about, like the Fluence has a Spider 2i. It's just light. It's just coming to the market now, and people are seeing results that are like, it's like a no-brainer. So imagine just you have like a 4x4 folding table, and you set that above your grow. So that footprint of that thing is going to be basically covering that whole 4x4. And Michael, just to go back to it, the LED lights, the 8 years those diodes last, and after 8 years, 10% go bad. So maybe just to make that clear, 90% of the light still works after 8 years. I mean,
Wow.
you basically are just, I don't want to say marrying something, but you're marrying something that's going to be there with you for a while.
Interesting. Can you is this a new thing? This got to be a new thing. And that's what I was asking for.
They've been going on for a while. I mean, I was actually just, again, reminiscing.
Right.
I had one of the first LED lights that was coming to market. It was a Stealth LED in 2013, and I gave that away to somebody today. That I got back from all the stuff that was taken from me.
That was going to be for flowering light, you're saying,
Yeah,
right?
and to think of what that does compared to what these do now,
Right.
wow. I mean, they're here now, because back then you would get the quality, you wouldn't yield enough weight to justify that. You would need, like you said, going back to what you said earlier, you'd need like 6 of those to harvest what you would do under a traditional light. Now, I mean, honestly, the lights in the LED land, they're brighter than just almost running some of these DE lights. So it's definitely here now, that's for sure.
And aren't you guys having an event coming up sometime soon? Another one?
Yeah, I think we have a growers night on April 18th, and I think Hydro Farm and Advanced Nutrients are putting that on. So, good community event, so that we're going to have a couple presenters, and then we usually have Jamie and Rick come out and give us like a little legal update on what's going on in the community and licensing, and what's going on with the boards.
Is there an outdoor event though, like you're having coming up or something like that?
The Spring Expo?
Yeah, the Spring Expo.
Spring
I think
Expo.
that's May 4th. So we usually have about 100 people, 100 different vendors come out. And, it's a good family event. We got the grilled cheese lady making grilled cheeses.
She
And,
sells out quick.
Yeah, they're free, actually. Yeah. And,
That's why she's so
yeah, she goes out quick. We got the bounce house and a lot of other great events. There's a big sale. This year we're offering it to everybody free.
Is that my friend
So
with the bounce house?
What's
Bounce
that?
House? That's my friend with the bounce house company, right?
Yeah. Yep. And they do a good job. We had last year we did pumpkin carving, so I'm not sure what we're doing. We're gonna usually have an event for the kids, but a lot of cool things going on, and just good vibes. A lot of presentations, again, more on the education side. We're looking at maybe flying some interesting people that are into aquaponics and certain different
Right on.
new things that people haven't tried. I mean, as we continue to grow, people have grown in soil, and then they're like, yeah, I'm good at it, but now I want to try like growing with fish, and going back to that natural thing. So May 4th, that's a Saturday. Again, tickets are free, and it's a really good event. There's going to be a raffle and a lot of great vendors out there just giving away some quality products. We have a couple of people that put a lot of hard work into that event. So May 4th, and then if you that's the bigger one. And then we have that growers night on April 18th.
Question from Alan. He says the PGT line is busy, so I don't know what's going
Well,
on.
Jim's got the apparatus, so we can't.
Oh, okay. So that's the reason, Alan.
That's the reason.
We got
Jim
Jim is sick.
has the apparatus.
Right.
So,
Apparatus is-
Alan would like me to ask, What is?
Wait a second.
Whoa.
What do you mean he's got the apparatus? That does not sound.